Thanks for joining us. So just to show you, when you log in to the main page, you will see your accounting CRM database there and a get started link. If you click on that, it will take you to the sort of basic steps of getting started. The Excel template to upload your client's information is there, as well as a completed one with example data, just to show you how it would look once you have completed it. And then a lot of tips over there, as well as a video explaining the data upload. So it's really the most important first step to get obviously your client's information in. And then the second step will be to go into the setup part. So if you open your database by clicking on it there, start in the setup section, and the very first table is your user table. And here you are going to invite your staff to access the app. Now, you do that by clicking on add record, and you will see then you can complete their information. You can specify in the tables. I'll show you just now. We have quite a lot of tick boxes and columns that for a junior staff member would be quite useful in reminding them how to actually complete the task. But for a more senior staff member who knows their job quite well, that might be too much information in a table. So you can choose between the simple and complex views of each task table, and you can assign that to each user. You then need to select their role. And we do have in the getting started everything that explains all of these roles. But basically, your super user will be yourselves, the highest ranking user. And that is the only user that can delete a client. So we do recommend that only one person be a super user just for that reason. When you delete a client, all of the tasks, all of the time that is logged is deleted as well. So we recommend only one person have access to that. Then on a similar level to the super user is your partner, and they have all the access of a super user other than the fact that they cannot delete a client. We then have your manager role, and then your accountant would be your next role below that. So the person doing the day-to-day bookkeeping. We have an assistant role, which would be someone like your personal assistant or your receptionist. And this role, you can invite someone to free of charge. They can use the app to basically maintain client records and track admin tasks, but they won't be able to access all of the task tables. And then lastly, we have the custom role. This allows you, depending on the size and setup of your firm, to assign a specific person within their departments that they are responsible for. So the accountant role is going to see all of the departments, but the custom role you can then customize, and that allows you to then make their navigation a lot simpler. You can also specify whether or not they filter on their own data, meaning that when you assign clients to them, if you switch that filter on, they will only see clients where their name is assigned to a task. Otherwise, if you're the kind of team that covers for each other, where if someone is on leave or not in the office, somebody else can handle their clients, leave this off, and they can then just filter within each table if needed. So there's that, and then you can store their salary rates here. Again, this table is restricted to super users and partners for the reason that you can see salary information. So make sure that your roles are set up correctly. When you click save, they will receive an email inviting them to the app, and they can work immediately. Okay, so that is your accountant setup. The data upload of the actual spreadsheets is handled in the data upload table simply by adding the record. When you click save and edit, a documents tab becomes available at the top there, and you can insert your Excel file that you have compiled, and then click save under the details tab, and it will upload your client's information. Complete your firm settings in the firm details. So just click on this record here and complete information over there. And then a couple of important setup in terms of the billing and timekeeping function that we offer. If you set this up correctly, we have reports that automatically tell you exactly how much to invoice your clients at any given time. So part of that is, for example, this fixed fee table, and the example given here is a 0 subscription for this client and the amount, and then you can give an invoice code as well. So if you pay for subscriptions on behalf of your clients, that you will come and add into the fixed fees table, and that pulls through to their billing report in the frequency and start and end that you specify. And then we have the rate group table. This allows you to create rate groups within your firm for different types of clients or different groups of clients. So if you have a look at the example in your database that we give, we've got standard for your general clients, a small retainer, medium retainer, large retainer. You might have discounted clients, pro bono clients, etc. And then you can also set up all-inclusive retainers and then specify the amount. So to give you an example here, we've got an accounting package for 4,000 Rand a month. If you click on that, in the included services tab, here you can add all of the tasks that are to be charged within that 4,000 Rand fixed fee. And what that means is, regardless of any time logged or time records added or anything like that, this particular client in that particular rate group is going to be charged 4,000 Rand plus any fixed fees that you might add for them. Okay, so what you do is specify the services that fall within this 4,000 Rand. Then anything outside of those specific services that time is worked on for this rate group will then be charged at their individual rates, which is set up in the rates table. So you can go really, really specific depending on how you bill your clients. And we do roll out this example just to help you see how the tables can be completed. But you can wipe them out just by selecting the select all button and under action saying delete, or you can just go and edit the ones that are there and reassign them to your rate group. So you can change this table as well. It's just created there for you as an example. Okay, so if you do go through that setup process, you really do have an automated way to see your revenue, your billing at any given time. Okay, I will show you the time log a little bit later. Just in terms of some navigation tips, you can see I'm clicking on the departments, clicking on the tables, and working through that. We do have a scroll bar at the bottom of the tables there. You can set your number of rows per page and also navigate through the pages at the bottom there. Each table on the first column has a little lock icon. And if you lock that lock, it allows you to freeze that first pane so that if you scroll to the right, you can still see which client it is you are looking at. And then the three little dots on any column heading allow you to sort to hide that column if it's irrelevant, or to filter on that column. Navigating away from the table does not clear that filter. So if you do reapply it and go look somewhere else, you don't have to come back and reapply the filter that you were looking for. Just make sure that if things don't look to be the full table, that you don't have an applied filter at the top right there. Okay. Okay, so to get into some of the services that we automate, so once you've uploaded your client's table, the services in these columns here that you've ticked will automatically schedule the very next task for you. So it is an immediate schedule. There's no waiting period or anything like that. And the best place to view all of these tasks is our All Tasks Due dashboard. Here, I've just filtered on one accountant, Jane. Okay. And this shows you all of the tasks assigned to her, the partner and manager also assigned to the task where applicable, the due dates, and then all of these numbers show you the various tasks that have a due date assigned to Jane. Okay, to go through some of the color coding here, the red indicates a task that is overdue, so the due date has passed. Yellow indicates anything due within 7 days from today. And then white is anything after that. So Jane's focus really should be to understand why these tasks have not yet been completed. And Jane's manager and partner would do the same. So to show you a practical example here, if we look at the 23rd of March, she had an annual return assigned to her. If you click on this number, it will take you to that table. It will show you the client for that due date for that accountant, and you can then see, was any notes made? Did she complete any information here? And why was it not yet completed? So if you look at this little one over here, if we go to that task, to complete a task on any table, you change the status column by clicking on it and changing the status to completed. So that is the final way that you tick this task as completed. So if you click save, you will see that the task is no longer in the table, but we don't delete them. For every task table, we have an archive table. So you never delete a task to complete it, you simply archive it. And here you will see for that specific due date that we had in March, Cape Tours, it is now marked as completed. If that was done by accident and you need to redo the task or actually complete it, you can simply change the status to anything other than completed. And if you click save, it pops it back to the current table. Okay, but so changing that status, let me just archive it again. We'll take away the one for that due date for that person. So this is a live dashboard. It's a great way to see if everyone is getting to all of their work. And Jane, as you can see, is quite a busy girl and has a lot to do. Okay. Our other indicator on this table here you can see is Jane on leave for any particular task? And so in our setup table is a leave tracker. It is not an HR tool, so we don't use it for you to have leave approved or applied for. But once leave is approved and you add it in the leave tracker, any tasks that they might miss because they're on leave for that due date will be highlighted like this in red. And you can see here that she would have potentially missed 2 payroll tasks there because she was on leave. And so now your discussion with her can be to either complete the payroll before she goes on leave or if it's something unforeseen, somebody else can see that she's on leave and go and look after that client. So it is a great way to make sure that there's nothing missed because somebody is on leave. Okay, so in terms of this, most of the tasks that are here are our automated tasks. In other words, they schedule automatically according to your setup in the client table, but we also track any manual tasks that you need to add. So that would be the SIPC tasks, your firm and ad hoc tasks, your SARS tasks. So anything where you do something on an odd frequency, the minute that task is saved with a due date and assigned to an accountant, it will also be on the all tasks due. Okay. So to explain what I mean in terms of automation, the accounting task, for example, is one of the automated tasks. Depending on the accounting type you select, you can specify if it is a monthly client, annual, bi-monthly, weekly, etc. And that allows you to then keep track of your accounting clients and their tasks. Now, in the accountant table, I mentioned some of the tables have a lot of tick boxes, a lot of detail. Here you can see for the accounting process, we've got a bank recon tick box, customer invoices, supplier invoices, journals, and then the management reports. So for someone who's quite junior, these kinds of reminders are going to be quite useful. But if you are someone who does not want the table to be this wide, you can either hide the columns yourself that are irrelevant to you. Okay, you can always unhide them in the manage columns menu there. You'll see you can simply show them again. You can also reorder them if you want to. But you can also do the quick way by selecting the simple view in the task view of the accountant table. So you've got quite a bit of flexibility in terms of how the tables display. And this applies to any table within the app. Okay. Another feature for any task is our time log feature. To begin timing on a task, simply click on their record and click play. Here you will see that the timer automatically starts running. If you hover over this time, it shows you which client and which task you are timing on. You can make notes here to say that you are processing the bank statement, for example, and that note pulls through to the time log record once you click stop. So it's a great way to make notes for time log purposes as well. If you navigate away, you will see the timer still keeps going. So I can open any other table to go and check something, to retrieve information. You can be logged out. You can lose internet, you can lose power. Your timer will not stop. So we have a failsafe built into our server that will protect you from losing any time logged. So you don't need to worry that you're going to lose time. But you do need to then remember to push stop. So because the timer will not stop, you do need to remember that you actually need to press stop. So if you, for example, forget to push stop and 10 hours later the timer is still going, you can come to the time log table and correct any record that you might need to. So it is a very user-friendly and quick way to keep track of time, and you do have the flexibility of editing those records. Okay, you can here as well sort and filter on these tables. We give you, as you can see, the notes where they were completed, the department that was worked on, and then the duration rounded and unrounded, depending on your firm settings. So it's a great way to keep track of time. And as I mentioned before, if you are not the kind of firm to bill based on time worked, you work strictly on fixed retainers, we still recommend that you make use of the time log, because there is never any way of knowing if a retainer is fair to both parties without knowing for a fact how much time is spent on that client. And so if you do make use of the time log, you're going to see in our reports whether or not a client is profitable, whether or not your staff are working as efficient as possible. And so it's really, really useful. Okay. In terms of getting to the point of billing, your staff are going to be able to see the time log table, so they can come here and make a note if they forgot to make a note in the task when they timed. So you can see here, say for example, for the annual returns, they paid 4,000 Rand for this client. That's going to be useful information when you are billing them. They can also come and edit the duration. So here we have a great example of the time that ran for 19 hours. And so here I would notice the error either on billing, hopefully not by the time you want to raise your invoices. So we do recommend that you review this as often as possible. But the point is that it's not set in stone. You can make corrections if you need to. Now, once we get to the point that we are ready to bill, you can filter on your start and end time if you only want to bill a specific period. Say, for example, we're now in April, we want to bill only time worked in March. Okay, so I'm going to select the 1st of March at midnight to the end of March at 23:59. Okay, and if there is time worked, that is then going to filter here for you. And to approve time for billing purposes, the time log your staff will see, the time authorized is where you are going to have an action to mark the time as invoice pending. So it is a duplicate of this table, but only the super user and the partner will be able to access the time authorized table. So if we just reapply our filter there, okay, so here we've got our time, and I'm now happy with everything. There's nothing here that's run for 20 hours. I'm happy with the notes if there needed to be notes. I've discussed it with my staff if I needed to. I can now go and approve this time by selecting Mark Invoice Pending. And so now you'll see not only is this table cleared, but the time log for that filter is also cleared because they are a mirror of each other. So this is still time to be invoiced, and the time that I'm going to invoice is in the time invoice pending table. Okay, here you can go and download this to Excel if you need to, if you still want to work through it. But we have a lot of reports in the firm reports that specifically deal with billing, staff hours, revenue and profit. And this table is again restricted to super users and partners because of the sensitive information. But if my rates, my rate group and my client table is set up correctly, I should have a pretty detailed report per client of all of the time that is sitting in the time invoice pending table, depending on their rate group. So you'll see we do have a bit of grouping here. And what this is supposed to group on is your invoice code and your description. So you can also group a bunch of very detailed tasks into your high level invoice lines. And so if you complete that correctly, you will quickly see the invoice code description and the amount. So you don't need to go and expand everything if you're happy with your setup. So here you can see this client, half an hour, 5 minutes in this case, was worked on their all-inclusive package, but our fixed fee for 5,000 Rand has pulled through, and we've added VAT there for you. We've got our SIPSI annual return, which we charge 200 Rand for. And here I would like to see a note that what I paid SIPSI was then 100 Rand, for example. And so those notes are going to pull through from the time log if your staff made them. So our data is quite skewed in terms of the client table setup. But in practice, having the correct rate group in your client table and set up and time worked, it is a great automated billing report. Now, once we've invoiced our clients, if we are then satisfied that this time has been invoiced, you can now archive the time so that you don't accidentally bill the clients a second time by selecting all of those records and then marking them as invoiced. And what that does then is moves it to the time log archive, and it will either show you that it was included in a service because they're part of a fixed retainer, or show you the status as invoiced. Okay. You can also mark time as internal. In other words, if it's time logged for your own firm, you can also use that for any no charge time, any pro bono time that you don't actually want to have pull through to the billing report. So that is the time log function. On any of the tables, you can also quick archive, so quickly change a bunch of tasks status to completed by selecting them over there and marking complete. Obviously, we wouldn't do all 59 tasks, but say, for example, we have a client who has 2 tasks here for March and April, and by May we did them together. I would then select them and just mark them as complete to quickly complete them rather than opening each record. So that is available in each table as well. To take you through some of our manual tasks, we have the first one, which is the firm and ad hoc task table. This allows you here to keep track by adding any record that is admin related, so, or either ad hoc. So it's admin and ad hoc kind of tasks. So they could be quite internal. You can even log time here for power failure. So once you've created the task, you can now time on it. And if there is a client assigned, it will then be billable as well. Okay, you can archive these too. And this does pull through to the all tasks due if you assign an applicable due date there. Okay. Our next table is the specialized tasks table. This allows you for any task that we do not automate. So it's not really your ad hoc tasks, but your more unique and specific tasks for various clients that Data Grows has not got in a drop-down selection or anything like that. So not a specific task table. In the setup section, there is a table called the specialized scheduler. This is where you're going to create the tasks that you would like to automate. So again, anything that we don't have a table for, you can automate yourself. Do that by clicking add record here. You can expand any window by clicking on that little arrow there. And I typically demo this by thinking of something that is outside of my normal scope as an accountant. So say, for example, I pay suppliers on behalf of a client. So I physically, once I have reconciled them, go and prep a payment request, and then the client authorizes them. I can then come and create this task to remind me that I need to do this for this client, because it's not something that I do every single day and I'm worried I forget. So I would come and create the task for myself, assign it to oversight if needed, and I can then set the frequency, the due date, and the scheduled date. So if we think that the suppliers, maybe the last working Friday of the month is a good day that's been agreed to pay, then I want to say schedule that task 3 days before, so that if I'm not there on that last Friday, I am reminded a little bit before. So you can really customize these tasks. The minute you click save, you'll see it here in your scheduler and you can edit it at any time. But the actual task to be reminded of, and to log time on, etc., then schedules the first one in this task table. And then every single month, 3 days before the last Friday of the month, it's going to schedule for me. So I create it once and it's just going to tick over in the frequency that I select. So it's a really useful tool, and you can create it for anything that you need to be reminded of at a specific interval within the app. Another manual table we have is our SIPC tasks table. Here you are going to track things like new company registrations, deregistrations, name changes, director changes, etc. And what makes this table special is when you click save and edit on a task, you will see that the subtask tab at the top becomes visible. And what we've done here is we've actually listed for each of these SIPC tasks the required documents to successfully complete this task with SIPC. And where possible, we've included some templates that you can download. So if you just click on the arrow there, you will download a Word document or a PDF document where applicable, and you can then go and edit it. But at least the boning of the letter is there for you. Then the other thing unique about this is this uploaded date over here, the 22nd of March. When you save the date there, as in you've created the transaction with SIPC and they've emailed you the COR39 to now sign, what the table does is automatically calculates the due date of those 10 calendar days by which you need to email them the supporting documents. Okay, so that would have been the 1st of April. And then the next day from the day you upload, it starts counting in calendar days so that you can see you don't reach that 10-day mark. So here you can see this company registration. We started it on the 3rd of April, and by tomorrow I need to email those documents or the request will be rejected and I'll have to start again. So it's a great way to keep track of these, and this due date pulls through to the all tasks due table as well. So it's really useful. You can make notes here, you can time, you can build on all of these things. Similarly, for SARS, for e-filing tasks and other related things, we have a SARS tasks table. And here we have over 20 tasks to choose from. And for each of those, we've given you the subtasks, the list of documents required to successfully submit this task to SARS and have it approved. So this is again really good for any junior staff, people who are learning, and even for myself, not having to constantly remember, but having a checklist of what I have for each client when I'm submitting to SARS. The update public officer one, for example, we've given you the online query link as well, where you can upload your documents straight to SARS once you have collated all of those documents. So it is a really useful tab. And then here, your uploaded date. Okay, for SARS, it's slightly different to SIP-C. This is when you've actually sent your supporting documents. We have a table in the back end that looks at the SARS turnaround time that they prescribe for each of these tasks. And then we calculate the due date that they should respond within so many working days. So this works according to working days. And then the day counter also counts in working days. So, for example, a VAT refund verification, you know that you cannot escalate that until 21 working days has passed. And so it's a great way to make sure that you escalate on time, that you follow up on time with SARS. You can here make notes of your case numbers. You can make notes of a SARS appointment dates if you need one, and you will also be reminded of that in your all tasks due. There is a column there for your SARS appointments, and there you can see the SARS tasks being generated according to that escalation due date that we discussed. Okay, so it really is a great tool, and like I say, for each task, there is a SARS task with the list of documents required. We've gone as detailed as we possibly could. Say, for example, the estate registration. I've even given you the Department of Justice forms as well, just so that you can see what they look like. If you are the kind of firm that completes them on behalf of your client, they are there as well for download. So it really is a useful table there. Okay, so those are our manual tables. Our automated tables that we schedule for you automatically is the accounting that I've shown you. The VAT returns go according to the SARS due date, depending on the VAT type that they were registered. So right now for April, we are seeing monthly vendors and odd vendors. We've got SIP-C annual returns that we schedule according to their registration dates. We have financials that we schedule. We schedule many payroll tasks, so workman's comp, your monthly EMP 201, 501, your payroll. Payroll, you can set up monthly, weekly, and bi-weekly cycles for each client. You can track filing submission. For tax, we have your corporate tax returns, individual tax returns, provisional tax returns, as well as turnover tax, if you have any applicable clients over there. Another great feature that we've just launched is our audit section, which you can specify. We realize not all of the firms actually perform audits nowadays. Some of you might only be accounting firms up to, let's say, an independent review, but you can switch on the audit module by selecting in that person's role, audit with rights to delete any audits or without rights. So again, just to protect your data, make sure that you select the correct rights there. If you do switch on that audit section there, it will be available under the financials portion there, and you can go and create audits to track as well. Some other features to show you, you will see at any task table or any table is a little blue speech bubble next to each record. This allows you to create a conversation on a specific task for a specific client. Here you can see we asked David to join a meeting at 9 a.m. and I simply replied to the message there. But to create a conversation and reference someone specifically, you can type the @ symbol, and all of your staff who have licenses allocated to them, you can select them there. And send them a message. And that will be available for them to read in the My Chats window. So here you can see there are some conversations here that I have been referenced. And if I go to an unread message there, you then just simply click on the speech bubble and you will see the conversation that has been directed at you, and you can then reply. So it's a great in-app communication. The other way you can communicate with your staff is in the setup section is the PopCom table. Here we have a way that you can create your own pop-up messages here. You will see we, as Data Grows, use it as well to communicate with you with our upgrades or any service notifications, but you can create them yourself and they will go out to your staff only. So our example here that the office will be closed for fumigation, you can then make sure that everybody is aware of this communication. And in each PopCom that you create is a confirmation table where you can see which users and when they actually confirmed this PopCom, so that you know everyone's actually seen your communication. So it's a great tool to use. The last sort of table that I want to show you is our services not used table. And this is an analysis of your client table according to their entity type and the services that you have switched on for them. So here, this PTY Limited, we are showing you ticks as the opposite to the client table. So for this particular client, you have switched on annual returns, income tax, accounting, EMP, provisional tax, and 501, but you've not ticked payroll. So it could be an error. In other words, after your first initial upload, you've missed a column, or you are not offering that as a service yet. So if you click on their name there, it will bring you to the client's table. And if it was an error, you can then come and switch on the payroll, okay, and click save. And if you've corrected all of our suggestions there, you will see that client is then no longer on the services not used tab. However, let's say, for example, payroll, at first they were doing in-house and they choose to keep it that way. You can then simply ignore the suggestion that we're making there to you. Or like I say, if it was not an error, but you then go and quote them. So let's say, for example, this individual here is maybe a new add to the table and they've not yet accepted your quotes to do their income tax. You can then, once they have accepted your quotes to do the tax, you can then simply switch it on, and then that tick box will go away. So it is a great way to just kind of review your client table in terms of the services that you have automated for them. Do either of you have any questions that you would like to ask?
No, I'm good. I'm quite happy with what I'm seeing. So yeah, I'm definitely looking into this.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good.
Seems to answer a lot of questions and cover a lot of aspects that are needed.
Awesome. So we do a free of charge sort of 30-minute one-on-one as well. And you can also at any point ask us to do this kind of demo with you and your team to make it a very specific training session rather than you filtering what I've showed you, because it is a lot of information. So don't hesitate to request that. We also do help you with the data upload, with setting up your rates and rate groups. We really are a hands-on team and here to assist. So don't hesitate to ask for that.